while the Congress was in session. Why am I worried? It would have been so easy for a terrorist organization to infiltrate this movement. The lone wolf terrorist, I think we've got a pretty good grip on. But political protest in this country is the heart and soul of who we are. But we haven't been protesting lately. We've been burning down cities. We've been attacking federal courthouses. We've been looting in the name of social justice.
Rioting, while liberal media calls it protesting. They show you the actual protesting, ignore the actual rioting, and then when people on the right point out that there's rioting, they pretend like, oh, they are dishonest. They are going against freedom of speech. The people are just there standing up for their rights and they don't like it because they're racist. Trying to trick their viewers by focusing their attention on protesting in a context of discussing the riots, the police ambush in Chicago, the many Molotov cocktails thrown at police officers, the many police officers that have been put in the hospital, the police officer that was run over in Philly and not covered by the Young Turks, not covered by David Pakman, not covered by Brian Tyler Cohen, not covered by these liberal-leaning partisan channels. They suppress when the riots happen, when the violence comes from the left. But the minute that we have an extremist on the right that does something, they're all over it. Their audience, not knowing the game that's being played with them, have this distorted view that it's always the right is a problem, I'm on the good side, you're on the bad side. Ironically, the exact same thing that the people on the right feel about themselves. Everyone is being lied to in the same way, and they have the same distorted view of reality. Everybody's on the right side, and the people who don't agree with you, they're on the wrong side. And if it was just that, might not be that bad. But you have people like Officer Tatum calling liberals evil. Liberals are evil, which is exactly how liberals refer to conservatives. Two sides so alike, yet think they are so different. Most of this country exists in two alternative realities. Digital echo chambers, conservative and liberal. Until they escape from their echo chambers, they will never see how warped a view they have of reality.
And now we've occupied the Capitol. This needs to stop. To my Democratic colleagues, and determination to make sure that what happened in our Capitol never happens again. But you need to speak up when this happens in other places. Lawlessness in one place breeds lawlessness everywhere.
One problem with this statement is, again, the media is not honest. So many of these liberals are not speaking up against the riots because they don't know about the riots. They're not being shown the riots. It's being hidden by the media they're watching. I watched all last year, and maybe I saw 2 or 3 videos that maybe kind of discussed the riots on CNN, MSNBC. And people who watch those networks, the Young Turks, would say I'm wrong and say, no, they talk about the riots. Go back and watch their videos. Go to the channels. Look at their videos. See how many videos you even see the word riot in the title or riot mentioned in the video. The most violent videos you see on liberal media, corporate or independent, go take a look and see those rare videos where they really show you violence. And take note of, is the violence all coming from the cops or from the right, Proud Boys? Or do you also see when Black Lives Matter and Antifa attack the police? Unprovoked, coordinated, premeditated. Do you see when they do that? Are you aware there was over 100 days of riots? Over 100 days of riots? Is that news to you? So I ask again, take a look at these channels and tell me if you see any evidence of them actually covering the riots. Or are they only covering protests? Unless they can frame the story in a way where it's always coming from the police. It's always coming from the right. If you feel that it's always coming from the right, ask yourself why that is. Is that because that's what you constantly see on the channels you watch? Or is it because that's reality?
When one cause resorts to violence and people are not prosecuted, other causes believe maybe this is okay. So the mistake we made is when people tried to destroy the courthouse in Portland, they weren't prosecuted to the full extent of law. When they occupied Seattle, They weren't prosecuted to the full extent of the law. When the attack, the acceptance of the nomination by President Trump here in D.C., virtually no one was prosecuted. It's good to hear everybody wanting prosecution. Some are late to the dance. I was there from day one. So let's reset and move forward until every political movement out there, no matter how just your cause in your own mind, using violence will not advance your cause. It will only lead to your personal incarceration, or if you go too far, to injury. So what am I calling for? I'm calling for a joint task force to be assembled and spend all the time and money necessary to identify every person who breached the security of the Capitol, who occupied the chambers, who invaded offices and destroyed property. There's a ton of video evidence out there. I was interviewed this morning by 2 FBI agents. They came to my house wanting to know if I had any surveillance cameras outside my house. I did not, but I'm encouraged they're on the case. Trust me, in the social media world that exists today, won't be that hard to find thousands of people who took the law in their own hands. The people sitting in the chairs need to be sitting in a jail cell. The people who attacked the Capitol Hill Police need to be charged with attacking a police officer. Sedition may be a charge for some of these people. So I will, for the next 6 years, God willing, every week ask of the Department of Justice, starting with this Department of Justice and the next Department of Justice, what kind of progress are you making in holding those accountable, the domestic terrorists who took over the House and the Senate chambers and laid waste to Capitol Hill?
How sad. How sad of a day. Man, you thought 2020 was crazy. Lindsey Garbage Flip-Flopper Graham is the one talking the sense. Never mind why he's doing it. Where were the Democrats when our cities were burning? Where were the Democrats outraged when they ran over that police officer in Philly that I didn't see on CNN or MSNBC? 100 days of riots. Joe Biden has not much to say until he was pressured, and then he pretends to care. Oh, well, we don't stand for violence. What Senator Lindsey Graham just did right there is absolutely decimate the Democrats. These are Trump supporters, people on the right, and he's standing up and saying what they did is wrong. They should be prosecuted. And not just pandering, saying stuff. I mean, we'll see how far this goes, but he's calling for a commission to track these people. And he's not just going to, according to what he's saying, I mean, again, we'll see what happens. He's not just saying, like, hey, I want the commission. He's saying, I'm going to actually stay on top of it. Something the American people have failed to do for quite some time, yet they complain about the results of their failure. Follow up, holding accountable. Most don't vote, and those who vote, that's all they do. Voting is the beginning, not the end. Voting is pointless if you're not going to hold who you vote for accountable. He's saying he wants to start this commission and hold them accountable. Every 6 months, what's the status? What's the status? Once again, I'm not an idiot. So I'm not going to get too excited. Because, again, we'll see what Lindsey Graham actually does versus what he says. But to say this much and to say what he said, I got to give credit where credit's due. Because he could do some easy pandering and just say, we got to, this is wrong, and I hope that this is brought to justice, blah, blah, blah. And don't really push for anything tangible, right? Just talk. He's saying start a commission, and he's saying he's going to follow. Like, that's a lot. That's unnecessary. That's setting himself up for failure. 6 months from now, what happened to your commission, Lindsey Graham? Now, again, I'm not an idiot. I know 6 months from now, you could ask him what happened to your commission, and he can make up an excuse, and he'll be all right. This is America. I mean, unfortunately, as far as government goes, we're a very corrupt country, and it's time that we accept the reality of it so we can actually get better. We're a country where he can say all that, do nothing, and not really have much consequences. But again, I don't think he would have said all what he just said unless he was serious. Over 100 days of riots, and I don't think I've heard such a strong and substantive statement made by Democrats. Pelosi, Schumer, Biden sat by, pretended not to see the violence and riots that's happening in our streets. Try to play games about protests versus riots. And then when they get enough pressure, they go and make some stupid statement, which means nothing. Just like Trump calling for peace yesterday. Politicians doing what politicians do. Talking out of both sides of their mouth. It's a sad day when the Democrats, who're supposed to be the good guys, we're the good guys. Right. You let swamp creature Lindsey Graham, you let him show you up. How many liberals are going to recognize what Lindsey Graham just did? How many of them are going to recognize and be like, you know what? Wow. Lindsey Graham did good. I'm not a fan of Lindsey Graham. Doesn't change my perception of Lindsey Graham. But in this moment, Lindsey Graham is on the right side of history. In this moment, even if it's but a glimpse. Just a tiny moment in time, overshadowed by decades of corruption. What a time to be alive. USA, USA, USA. This is the Debate Me channel. Debate me in the comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell, be well. M-Brain.